on, guys, we will start streaming. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. Another wild day in the United Kingdom. Another wild day globally. Look, guys, there's a few things I want to talk about this morning. One, it's the NATO aircraft that's gone down. How I think an event like this is going to lead to the Third World War. I've talked about this a few times, and this could be one of those instances. We are also going to talk about Sharia law in the United Kingdom, because it's raising its ugly head. It's raising its it's taking place, it's taking precedence. And look, guys, as these things move forward, we are literally moving closer. We are moving closer and closer to seeing people. NHS workers are now terrified. They are, guys. NHS workers are terrified if they see a St. George's cross outside on a lamppost outside somebody's house, and it's like a no-go area for these NHS workers. They're so scared. They're so scared, guys. Okay, the same NHS workers. The same NHS workers who sued the NHS because they want to wear Palestine flags on their little uniform. So that's the state of the United Kingdom right now, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me turn the chat on. I forgot to do it yesterday. So that's what we're going to be talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Can you do me a real big favor if you've not done so already? Right. Guys, is there a lag? I've been having problems with the internet the last couple of days. Can you let me know what the connection's like on YouTube? Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what these. Right. Okay. Thanks, guys. Lisa Claydon's saying, yes, it's lagging. Yeah, it's really bad. Right, guys, the internet has been really bad the last couple of days. Yeah. I don't know. Guys, what is it like on TikTok? What is the... I'm okay on TikTok. Right, I'm okay on TikTok, but I'm not on there. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me try and fix this. Right, I think I know what the problem is. Yeah. Right, listen, guys, I'm going to turn you guys off on TikTok. I'm going to turn you guys off on TikTok, and I think that'll make the signal better, okay? So you guys on TikTok, I do apologize. I'm going to jump over to YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to turn you guys off on TikTok. I'm going to jump over to, and then I'm going to just jump over to YouTube because I think that'll make the signal better. So I'll see you guys later. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Raven has fixed it. Raven has fixed it. Right, okay. Yeah. Right, okay. We're good. Right, we're good, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everybody. So I'm back on now. I'm back on. Right, okay, so the signal's good now. Right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that little delay. I do apologize. But look, guys, we do things, we do things live. We do things in real time. I deal with problems and give you guys solutions in real time. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. What we're talking about today is the NATO plane that's gone down in Georgia, Sharia law in the United Kingdom, World War III and World War IV updates. So let's just get on to this, guys, okay? So... I'll give you this headline about an aircraft that's gone down in NATO military, and this is an article from GB News, posted 8/02/04 this morning. NATO military aircraft seen in death spiral before horror crash as 20 soldiers confirmed dead. 20 soldiers have died after a NATO military... 20 soldiers have died after a NATO military military plane was seen spiraling out of control before crashing into the ground. The ill-fated aircraft is believed to be a Lockheed Martin C-130 Hercules belonging to alliance member Turkey. The crash occurred in Rustavi, in the Rustavi region of Georgia, 100 miles from the Russian border on Tuesday. Right. Footage of the incident shows plumes of smoke being emitted from the plane as it spun out of control. Now, look, yesterday when I was on the live stream and I was given this, or maybe I think it was yesterday I was given this on the live stream, and I looked at the incident and I kind of dismissed it. I didn't dismiss it. I said I thought it was an accident. Now, more images have come out, more footage has come out, and the aircraft looks intact, basically. So the aircraft does look intact as it's, again, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I may be wrong. I can caveat in all of this, all right? I may be wrong, but I'm just giving you guys my real-time analysis from what I've seen. The aircraft does look intact as it's falling, so that could rule out air defense. You know, you've got to understand the Russian air defense is well capable of firing, you know, of being able to strike targets 100, 200 kilometers away, or miles it is in this case. But what I just want to highlight to everyone right now, when you ratchet these tensions up, when we've got these air incursions everywhere, where we've got NATO states, everybody's on edge, guys. Everybody's on edge right now. If you border Russia, you're on edge. You are literally on edge. So when you ratchet these tensions up, and when you ratchet these tensions up and you're stockpiling munitions, and then you get an air incursion, then you get another air incursion, and then you get a drone going down in your country and killing some civilians. These are the things that make starting World War III by accident. That's in my opinion, that's how this will start. It will start by absolute accident. I'll give you guys a scenario now, right? We all know that when was it? Let me just Google this real quick. I think they've done it twice, actually. So in September, Poland invoked Article 4 of the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty, whatever it's called. So Article 4 has already been invoked now in Poland, and there's other countries that have done this. So what that means is, so people think that NATO, it's all about Article 5, and yeah, all right, that's for the kids. For the grown-ups, it's Article 4. What that does, Article 4, is it gives that legal, here's Sean again in his legal frameworks, it gives that legal documentation, let's say. Let's not use the word framework. I'm starting to do my head in. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have no legal framework to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. So when you invoke Article 4, what that does is that gets everybody around the table, all the NATO members, and then Poland, the defense minister or whoever, they come up and they say, look, these are our concerns. Our concerns are X, Y, and Z, for example. Russian drones, Russian Kinzhal missiles, encroaching our airspace, going down. And as it's happened before, as it's been reported in Poland, there have been fatalities. So obviously, Poland don't want drones coming into their country and unaliving their people. I think that's quite reasonable. So what they do is they will set out a framework saying, right, okay, if this happens, you guys are permitted to do this, and we will support you by doing this. Absolutely fine. Everything's there. All the ticks are in the boxes. What that does is, the next time something happens, the Polish pilots that are going up to intercept, the ground defenses or whatever, they know exactly what to do because they've been briefed. Whereas before, for example, if let's just say that the example is a Russian aircraft has encroached is flying really close to Polish airspace. Let's just say, for example, Article 4 had not been invoked and the Polish aircraft go up to intercept it. The Polish aircraft will be on their radios back to their, like, I don't know, their commander or whatever it is, sat wherever, saying, right, these Russian jets are flying really close. Do we have permission to open fire? And that guy may or may not say open fire. He may be thinking, Jesus Christ, what if this is just a navigational error? No, don't open fire because we don't want to start World War III. That's what they will be saying. I know this because back in, I think it was 99. Can somebody give, I think it was 19. Was Kosovo 99, guys? Because I think Kosovo was 99. So 1st Battalion Parachute Regiment were told to secure Pristina Airport. The Russians steamrolled in and took control of Pristina Airport. The message came back from the government of the UK was to take Pristina Airport by force. Now you've got 1st Battalion Parachute Regiment Battle Group with no heavy armor, minimum anti-tank weapons, and they're getting, everybody's getting ready to go and take on this Russian armored division. The commander at the time, I think he was a general at that time, General Jackson. He said, no, we're good. I'm going to refuse that order because I don't want to start World War III. So that's what happens in real time. When you're in these ops rooms, you get like a colonel or a general, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna shoot down that Russian aircraft and start World War III. I'm not having that on me. However, what happens once Article 4, like it has in Poland in September, once Article 4 has been invoked, that's already agreed on. They've already said that's what they're going to do. So now you have the circumstance, the scenario, sorry. Now you have the circumstance where some Russian jets encroach onto Polish airspace. Those Polish pilots have been briefed. Right, if they come over this line, take them down. That's it. There's no questioning. That's what happens. They don't think, they don't need to radio back. They've already been briefed. And this is what people like. A lot of people don't understand how close this is to going by accident. And I do think it will happen by accident, guys. There have been several scenarios in the last, I guess, since 2022, where it could have gone bad by accident. And now there are more countries invoking Article 4. The likelihood of this happening by accident is a lot higher. So, for example, let's just say now, there's no margin for error. Those Russian pilots, if they are genuinely lost, if they've been hacked by the Ukrainians, if they've had some sort of, electromagnetic strike, or I don't know, and all their GPS and navigational systems have gone down and they're genuinely lost, you can imagine, guys, listen, imagine your navigation system's gone down and you're in an Su-57 or whatever, and you're flying really high and really fast, and you're like, right, all my shit's gone down. Like, what do? You need to find those ground references. So you need to come low and you need to be looking on the ground. That looks like a bombing run, guys. It does. That looks like a bombing run. So now, with the downing of this Turkish C-130, and I'm not saying this is Russian strikes or anything like that. What I'm saying is accidents like this could be interpreted. Now the tension has ratcheted, now the tension's really ratcheted up. These accidents you know, a slight miscalculation, a genuine accident that could cause a reaction that would start a chain reaction that would lead us all into conscription, World War III, all marching down, you know, all marching down behind Supreme Leader Starmer. I mean, guys, look, just as a quick, I'll jump onto the chat in a second. Like, just as a quick, has anybody heard it? When was the last time we heard from Keir Starmer? Like, where's he gone? He's vanished. You know, he's absolutely vanished. Right, let me jump onto the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Oh God, I've got a horse mouth today. Debbie, oh God, guys, I'm really struggling to talk. Debbie Doobs is saying, I'm worried that Putin is backed into a corner. He will take us all with him. He's not one to lose. I agree, Debbie. You know, when you back people into if you understand Russian culture and Russian mentality, they will do anything. You know, they will do anything to, you know, to try and keep that winning, to keep that win. That's why when people say, you know, that's why when people say, oh, but the NATO military is better and this and this and this, you don't understand the differences in culture. You don't understand that the Russians will push as many people forwards as possible. Chris is saying, could say the same for the West. They can't lose. They'll take it all with them. Okay, I think there's two differences here. Financially, okay, so what's at stake here for the West? And by the West, I mean Europe and Russia. So what's at stake here? Because the West have pumped so much money and propped up Ukraine so much, excuse me, because that's happened, if this war in Ukraine is a lose for the Ukrainians, whatever a lose means. I mean, look, guys, I don't even know what a win and a lose would be right now. Like, let me Google this. Yeah, you see, it's very difficult to find out. Like, you know, just again, I'm not me being pedantic, guys. I think these things are important. What is a win? Like, we all know the Ukrainians are fighting a war against the Russians. But to win that war, what would the Ukrainians say? Right, okay, once we've done this, this is a win. You know, what does win mean right now? Like, and for the Russians, you know, the same goes for the Russians. What does a win mean for the Russians? And when I was out there in, I can't remember, like, I don't know, 16 or 17 or whatever, I was right on the front line. And one of the things I was really astonished by is back, and I'm sure it's the same now, the rules of engagement and the mission statement. Now it sounds silly, but they're key to fighting any conflict. You need to know what a win is. Like, can you imagine, right? Two MMA fighters, all right? Let's just say like John Jones and Alex Pereira. I hope they get to fight at the White House. So John Jones and Alex Pereira, they get in the cage. They've got the gloves on. Right, we're going to have a fight. And they don't know how to win. They're like, right, okay, so if you tap out, is that a win? If I knock you out, is that a win? Like, do I have to, like, what is a win? You know? And I can't find anything conclusive from the Russian side, what the Russians hope to achieve in, what the Russians hope to achieve. And I can't think of anything that, you know, and I can't think of what the Ukrainians hope to be a win either. And, you know, this is like, you know, this is just, you know, this just brings it back to those, you know, those fundamental questions. What is a win for the West and what is a win for the Russia? But, you know, I think with what Chris R is saying, if we talk about the West can't lose, they'll take it all with them. I would say if the West lose, their financial systems are going to be gone, and it will be, you know, it will be the end to the European Union. And I would say if the Russians lose, it will mean full balkanization of Russia, and Russia will be reduced to like St. Petersburg, Moscow, and some of that like northern Arctic region. Right, guys, I'm going to get the comments and then I'm going to go on to this. Googlino is saying Starmer will fight attempts to replace him. Allies say, yeah, you know, I don't think Starmer's going to stand down. Googlino is also saying 7 men charged with more than 40 offences as police investigate another child exploitation ring in Bristol this time. Right, guys, there's loads of channels. There's loads of comments. I'm just gonna, in fact, let me get this one. Alex Cameron is saying Keir Starmer's gone to the shadow realm. Maybe he has. Maybe he's in his like he's got his mask on and his red cloak and he's doing some incantations. Steph is saying, how many accidents have there been recently and these aircraft aren't designed to simply break up? Yeah, I agree. There's been quite a few accidents. I don't know whether that's because there's been an increase in military activity, you know, an increase in, what's the word I'm looking for? An increase in the amount of logistics that need to be transported. But I did see the, I did see the footage, and it did look like the aircraft as it was falling. It didn't look like it had been hit by a missile. Again, you know, I may be wrong. Chris R is saying Russia won. Okay, Russia won what? And Donna is saying, Sean, the plane had pieces falling off it. Right, okay. Okay, right. Listen, Donna, where did you watch that video? Because I've just seen a short video and it didn't look like pieces were falling off it. Can you tell me, Donna, where you saw that video? Excuse me. Can you tell me where you saw that video, and I'll look at it now. Again, maybe the news are just suppressing this because they don't want the real stuff to come out. Jussie 1970 is saying, my son is ex-army. He said he won't fight for this country anymore under Starmer. Yeah, so there's been quite a few articles out. The military, special forces guys are resigning in droves. Let me see if I can find something on the mainstream media about this, because I don't want to drop myself in it. Okay, so in March, let me get this up actually. So this is an article from The Guardian, guys, okay? This is an article from The Guardian, all right? I'm just going to read this from The Guardian, and then, like, there has to be protection, guys. There has to be protection for our soldiers. And we can't have, you know, I've lived through this. We can't have a situation where we send our soldiers to go and fight, and we tell them, guys, you need to fucking win this. You need to win this, and you need to protect us. We can't then, when they come back, look at everything they've done and said, that was against, you didn't, when you were fighting, when you were attacked, when you were taking that trench, you did not observe their human rights. You know, you called them him when he was clearly a him, he, or a he, she, or a they, them. Can't have that. You know, when soldiers go away to fight wars, I'm not saying that there should be no discipline, because there absolutely needs to be discipline. What I'm saying is, when you send people away on these missions and you expect them to win. Sometimes to win, you need to win. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to read you this article. This is over a year old, but this is one of the reasons why people are leaving the military. 5 SAS soldiers. This is an, when was this? So this is from March 2024. So I'm reading this from the mainstream media, guys. This is from March 2024 from The Guardian. In fact, I'll share this with you, actually. So when we're talking, well, you know, when we're talking about British military and people leaving, and like Jussie is saying there, her son is ex-army and he said he won't fight for the country under Starmer. Like I said, there's the date, 5th of March 2024. 5 SES soldiers arrested in the UK on suspicion of alleged war crimes in Syria. Case files recommended prosecuting for those charges have been sent to the Service Prosecuting Authority. 5 members of the SAS have been arrested by British military police on suspicion of allegedly committing war crimes while on operations in Syria. The Ministry of Defence said it would not comment directly on the investigation, but defence sources indicate that reports of the arrest, which have been circulating in military circles for some time, were accurate. So can you imagine that, guys? You know, as I'm right, okay. An MOD spokesperson said, "We hold our personnel to the highest standards." Absolutely true. That should happen. And any allegation of wrongdoings are taken seriously. Where appropriate, any criminal allegations are referred to the service police for investigation. So here we are, look, guys. It is alleged that the 5 used excessive force in the incident, although the soldiers involved are understood to deny this, arguing they believed the dead man posed a legitimate threat, so justified his killing. So, you know, and I've said this quite a long time. If those soldiers do something wrong, it's not their fault. It's down to whoever's in charge of the training, and ultimately it's down to the people who deploy them. So here's the thing. Governments right now, Keir Starmer, if you're not happy with the state of the military and the amount of training they've got, and, you know, if you think they're undisciplined, don't deploy them. Let them stay at home. Let them stay with their wives. Let them stay with their kids. Excessive force? Can you just imagine this, guys? I'll paint you a scenario right now. I'll paint you a scenario. Put yourself in this scenario, guys, okay? Chris R is saying, Russia won, the West is shaking, trying to find a win F NATO. Some very wild words here, Chris F. Right, let me continue on this, guys. I do feel strongly about this. Right, what's going on in this chat, guys? What's going on in this chat? Right, I'm going to come to the chat because I think we may have beef in the chat. Right, let me just go into this, guys, real quick. So let me picture you this scene. All right, you're there. You've got a wife. You're a man, because most of these special forces guys are men. In fact, I'd say they're all men. You know, you've got a wife, you've got kids, you love them. You want to go home to see them. You're going out on these jobs, maybe 2-3 times a week, where you're kicking doors down and people are taking pot shots at you. What are you supposed to do? Let them take pot shots at you? You know, say, oh, this is, you know, whatever. That's the mentality. You want to go home to see your, you want to go home to see your friends and family and your loved ones. You get told that you're going on a job, and these people in this route, in this building, in this compound, or an alpha, or a building would be an alpha. So you get told people in this alpha are bad people. Okay, right, they're bad people. So you run up to that wall, you put your explosive charge on the outside, you blow it, You go in and there's people running at you. How do you react? Like literally, how are you supposed to react? I'm just going to leave it there, guys, okay? These soldiers, they get a split second sometimes. They get a split second to react to things. And legal teams get, you know, juries and legal teams and prosecutors get as long as they want. Years in some cases. To decide what those soldiers did in a split second. I have done this a lot, guys. Anyway, right, let me jump down. Let me jump down because there's people telling each other to F off. All right, hang on. Right, there's loads of stuff going on. Right, guys, I'm just going to jump to the bottom, guys. I'm just going to jump to the bottom. Donna is saying, Sean, get my comment about the... Right, okay, hang on. Right, where's Donna's last comment? This one? Chris, no country has definitely better arsenal as both Russia and US have vast... Okay, right, well, right. Right, I can't find... Right, David W. Right, channel... Right, let me get this, guys, because Right, guys, I do want to look at this. Give me a second. Right, I'm on it now. Let me... right, I'm on that channel now, guys. Give me a second. Right, I can't... Right, he's got loads of content on there. Right, I can't find that. Does anybody else have anywhere else I can see this footage, guys? Does anybody else have this place where I can see this footage? Are we saying it's a video over this? Right. Let me get this chat because this chat's going crazy. Russia is number one in nukes and rockets, probably fighters too. Right. Okay. Right. Oh, hang on, Donna. Oh, it's on the Daily Mail. Right. Let me get this. Right. Let me get this up. Right. Look, guys. Chris, I'm going to give you an analysis of everything you're saying in a minute, mate. I will. Let me just look at this. Try and find this video and I'll share it with you guys, okay? Right, I've got it. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. Right, let me just get rid of the ads and then I will we'll play this and we will watch it together. No, you're right, Donna. Breaks apart in the sky. Okay. Right, so let's share this together. Let's share this and let's watch this together. So thank you for that, Donna. I will jump onto the other chat in a minute, guys. But look, guys, I've not seen this video. I mean, that looks intact. Oh, no, God, no, it's definitely not intact, is it? That looks like the middles fell out. Yeah. The middle's gone. I don't know what could have caused that, guys. Okay, so looking at that image there, guys, okay, obviously you've got Jesus. Yeah, that is definitely not a full C-130, is it? So what I'm going to say with that is, look, guys, I may be wrong. I'm giving you guys real-time speculation. What I'm going to say with that is, you see, if you understand how these air defense missiles work, I'm not convinced it's an air defense missile, because these air defense missiles don't usually give it a direct hit. What they do is they will go up and they will detonate a shitload of shrapnel near that aircraft. So normally that is not a broken aircraft. Like normally that is just parts that, you know, shrapnel into the engine, into the fuselage, into the wings, you know, and that's what happens. What that looked like to me, and look, guys, this is just wild speculation, all right? That looks to me like the whole fuselage is just gone. So I would say that there's been an onboard explosion, like an actual onboard explosion. So maybe these guys were carrying explosives somewhere to somewhere. A military aircraft, that's what they do. You know, they carry explosives. And I'm going to say that there's been an onboard explosion. Now, you can speculate about how that onboard explosion happened. You could say that it was a guys playing juggling with hand grenades on the back. Could be. It could be a timed device. It could be anything, you know, but I would say that looks like an internal explosion. I may be wrong, guys. I may be wrong. From what I know from surface-to-air missiles, you know, surface-to-air missiles don't usually break an aircraft in half like that. Yes, of course. If that surface-to-air aircraft has given that, you know, if that surface-to-air missile has hit with a direct hit, of course that's going to happen. You know, but there's a degree of area of uncertainty with those things, right? Chris is saying Russia is #1 in nukes and rockets. Right, Chris, first of all, I don't think nuclear weapons are ever going to be used. And what I always say on this channel, Chris, is if you have a scrap, in fact, you know, if I had a scrapyard, right? You know, if I had a scrapyard and I had 100 vehicles in that scrapyard, missing engines, missing gearboxes, you know, missing wheels, windows smashed, you know, they've been pilfered. But I had 1,000. And you, Chris, have a garage with 20 cars. Who can carry the most people? I'm going to say it's you, Chris, because you've got the cars that actually work. Now, I would say a lot of the Russian nuclear weapons don't work. Yeah, it won't work. Pure. I don't know what we're talking about here. Right, guys, I'm just going to jump down. I'm going to jump down because there's loads of comments, guys. I'm not going to be able to get them all. Googleino is saying, Sean, how do I send you pictures? I don't know. Can you not send them, like, I don't know. Can you not send them on, and go, right, I've short, right. We say we've got small pictures. Hang on. Let me go up a minute. Hang on. There's some right beef going on here. Right, Steph is saying, it's disgusting, Sean, and when this happens to Special Forces guys, they're hardly even allowed to defend themselves because they are sworn to secrecy. They will have a good legal team defending them. Now, when I left the military, you had to take a lawyer with you. You had to take lawyers with you, and those lawyers had to write, started writing off on missions because we came to these legal issues, and it was an absolute nightmare. It really was, guys. You know, just saying the Daily Mail says it broke apart. Now, why did it break apart? So Googleino is saying, why does it bother people so much that if pieces fell off? So what I would say is, if pieces fell off, that would be indicative of a strike, of something hitting it. Not always. If it, like I initially thought, because of the images I'd seen, it must have just been the wrong angle. If it fell, if it comes down in a wanna, that's usually an engine failure or something. But as we've seen, it's literally snapped in half. Oh, so right, okay. Steph, his solicitor said nothing can do. Mark, you are going down. Dad had 5 minutes left before going back in. Made a call, came out. Solicitor said, "Who did you call? Friends in high places." I don't know what this is going on. Right. Chris, all good to have your own opinion, but don't stop being that. Right, what's going on here? Chris is kind. Okay, right, what's going on? Right, okay. Priv Carroll is saying, Raven, could you answer the question I asked in the chat? All right, guys, right. Listen, guys, it's all going wrong. I'm literally just trying to figure out what's going on in this chat. Right, let me find Priv Carroll's comment, and then I'll continue about Sharia law, because I've not even touched Sharia law yet. Priv Carroll, I can't see your comment. I'm about 10 minutes behind in the live. One question. If Russia went after Poland, could NATO do what they are doing in Ukraine if they feel that's the best way to defend, even if Article 5 is on? If Russia went after Poland, could NATO do what they're doing in Ukraine? Right, okay. Do you know what? That's a good question. No, the answer's simple. No, they could not. I would say if Russia went after Poland, then all the resources and all the kit and equipment that they have been given to the Ukrainians, they would then give that to the Polish. But we're quite a while away from that now. We are quite a while. We're still away. We are a way off from that. Donna is saying Sean is losing it. I am not losing it. I am always in control, Donna. I'll have you know, I am always in control. I don't lose anything. Maybe my car keys now and then, but in general, I'm always in control. Right, Chris. Chris is saying he likes somebody and he's funny. Right, guys, look. Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh, okay. Steph is saying Russia will be bankrupt soon. I don't think they will, guys. You know, I would say if the war ends, Russia's got more likelihood of being bankrupt. You've got to understand how big Russia is and the resources they have. You know, as long as people want to buy cheap oil and cheap gas, they're going to be good. Right, let's move on. Let's move swiftly on to Sharia law. So Sharia law courts in the United Kingdom, guys, this has come out again as this guy, this Morning Star is I'll just read you this headline so I don't get done. This is a headline from the Daily Mail from the 10th of November, so 2 days ago. This Morning Star withering swipe at Adil Ray after comments about Sharia law, which saw him scolded by ITV bosses. This Morning Star has taken a withering swipe at Good Morning Britain host Adil Ray after comments he made about Sharia law saw him scolded by ITV bosses. Former show contributor Emma Kenny unleashed her fiery response on social media after Mr. Ray appeared to endorse Sharia law. The TV presenter, Adil, is said to have been hauled in by a very cross GMB bosses following the segment after he congratulated fellow Muslim Zoran Mamdini on his stateside victory, becoming the New York mayor, by praising the values behind Sharia law in a social media post. This is coming, guys. I promise you. It's going to be little by little over time, and this is part of jihad. So for people who just think that like jihad is a full-on war, it's not. Jihad is doing anything to further your cause, whether that is whether that is, whether that is dealing with somebody in the NHS before someone else, whether that is, serving someone at the supermarket before someone else, whether that is letting certain people get away with certain crimes, that is all part of jihad or jihad. So the implementation of Sharia law it is here, guys. It's coming and it's happening slowly, slowly, slowly. And it will be inch by inch. Now, let me just read you guys a comment here from, who was it? Let me just read you this, guys. This is from Christian Concern, all right? This is from Christian Concern. It was an article published the 18th of September. Government says Sharia courts are in line with British values. And I'm saying they're not. I'm just putting it out there, guys. I'm saying, this is my opinion, and I hope you guys will agree with that. I'm just saying, I don't feel stoning people to death is in line with British values. Call me old-fashioned. I'm not down with that. So I will read this. Sarah Sackman, MP, the Minister of State, Ministry of Justice, responded to a topical question in the House of Commons this week from Reform MP Sarah Porchin. Porchin asked, does the new Secretary of State for Justice recognise Sharia law and Sharia courts in the United Kingdom? Yes or no? So this woman, Sarah Sackman, responded. I'm assuming she's a woman. So this perceived woman, Sarah Sackman, responded, Sharia law forms no part of the law in England and Wales, but where people choose to put themselves before those courts in common with Christian, Jewish and other faith that is part of religious tolerance, which is an important part of British culture. So here we have it, guys. First of all, I know I've said this quite a few times. When somebody uses the word but in a sentence, it means they don't believe what they've said previously. It means whatever they've said previously is questionable. So let's read this again. Sackman replied, and again, this is just Raven analysis. Sackman replied, Sharia law forms no part of Sharia law forms no part of the law, England and Wales. But, so there you have it, guys. I don't think she believes what she's saying previously. Now, this is going to happen. At some point, there will be people behind the scenes skullduggerying. They'll be doing a lot of skullduggerying. Like that guy, for every offence, there's a defence. I think he's funny. I do, guys. I think he's quite funny. I'm diametrically opposed to everything he says, but I do think he's quite funny. Do you think he wouldn't put in and wouldn't find these little legal back passages where, because that precedent's happened and because that law's been passed, actually, this law, because it was passed in a Sharia law court that has this justification now in the United Kingdom, this is law. Oh, right, yeah, okay, that is law. So now we're going to have that, and that's how it's going to happen. It will happen slowly. Nobody will be paying attention. I will, guys. I'm always paying attention. I pay attention to everything, including the chat. Right, let's see what's going on in this chat, because I need to... Right, looks like everything's good in the chat, guys. Looks like everything's... Looks like everything's good. Donna, Priv Caro is saying, Jens Stoltenberg now back as a money minister, says he won't guarantee the whole EU loans to Ukraine 3 minutes ago. You see, when we're talking about money to Ukraine, when we're talking about money to Ukraine, remember the video I showed you guys yesterday? I'll share it again with you guys if you want. Yesterday I shared a video and it was like it was a video of Pulcroves. In fact, let me look on the war map. Actually, it was a video allegedly from Pulcroves, and it showed the Russian troops moving into Pokrovs. And again, I don't know if they were Russian troops. I don't know if it's been fact checked. I don't know if it's been fact checked or not. But it showed these forces moving into Pokrovs. And they were Mad Max forces, guys. You know, they were Mad Max forces. They were on civilian motorbikes. They had stripped down civilian 4x4s, you know. And it really was a Mad Max scenario. Hang on, let me just... Yeah, let me share this with you guys now, because again, it's so I'm just going to quickly share this map with you guys. So, you know, a couple of, like, I think it was last week, I spoke to one of my friends and he said, yeah, the situation in Pulcrove, Sean, has gone. So this is the town here, guys, what everybody's talking about right now, that town of Pulcroves. This was the situation on the ground on the 9th of the 11th. So like, what, 3 days ago or whatever. I'm just going to fast forward now and look at the ground the Russians are taking. So this was the 10th. They've taken these bits and they've taken these bits. And then yesterday they took this. So they're moving and they're expanding and they keep expanding forwards. You know, it's gone. That town's gone, guys. There's no holding it now. There really is no holding it. So when we're talking about more money to Ukraine, you know, more money and more finances, it's not helping. It's really not helping because, you know, it's really not helping because they're sending in these conscripts and they're saying to the conscripts, right, go in there, push that way, use what you can, find what you can. Like, if any of you guys have ever been in the military, I have, you will know how ridiculous it is. Like, let me think of an example. So once we had to blow a vehicle up because we couldn't get, I can't remember what, like that. I'm not a mechanic, but something had gone on the engine and we were so far out, we couldn't get that part. So it was like, I'm not going to tell you the vehicle. Well, it was a Jackal. Call it a Jackal. Let's just say it was a Jackal. Let's just say it was a Jackal, guys. Okay. So we had this vehicle. We couldn't find a certain part for the engine or the hydraulics. I can't remember what it was. And the vehicle was immobilized. And we couldn't get that part sent forwards to us. So we had to blow that vehicle up. Now, these vehicles that we were on are like 200-300 grand each. Do you think the Russians are having that problem? No. They don't have any vehicles. So they're going in there and they're taking control of civilian vehicles, civilian motorbikes, stripping them down, cutting their backs off, you know, and they're using them. So when we talk about money to Ukraine, what is the capability that money is providing? Because I will say, and I will say this time and time again, the money is not being spent in the right places. Spending £1 million doesn't mean you can beat someone spending £1,000. Doesn't. Not if the cost of a hammer to you is $100 and the other guys are paying $1. It's a fake metric, guys. It's a fake metric. What we need to be looking at is what people are producing, what people actually have, what they actually have. And if the Russians are sending cheap conscripts into Ukraine, telling them that they have to find their own food, find their own vehicles, pillage their way through, two things are going to happen. One, it's really cheap and easy to deploy those troops. Two, they get really good at it. They get really good at that. They get really good at stealing vehicles. They get really good at using those guerrilla tactics, pirate tactics, Mad Max tactics, if you will. So that's the way the Russians are pushing. Now, if you think about the NATO forces that come to counter that, they've all got to have their rations. They've all got to have their water. They've all got to have that logistics supply to support them. They've all got to have the newest, shiniest vehicles that are all serviced and all up to date. Yes, of course. that system is a lot better. But it's not sustainable for as long as just pushing people in there and telling them to pillage their way through. And this is, that's, you know, it's one of the tropes I've been saying on this channel for a long time. It's just not gonna, it's not a win. You know, it's not a win. Danny Walker is saying powerful solar storm hitting the earth now, possible power cuts and connection problems. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a video on TikTok on that, guys. John Giles is saying Labour going to lift the 2-child benefit cap. So we're going to stop giving money away. Who do you think is going to have all these children, guys? You know, as soon as they lift that 2-child cap, who do you, like, what kind of demographic? Like, when you think about, look, guys, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know the answer. But you know, as late when Labour, if, remember, I don't know, I'm only speculating, if Labour lift the 2-child cap, what type of people do you think are going to be banging kids out left, right, and centre? I don't know. Jake is saying, John, that will be because of the very large families moving to the UK. They'll not have to send money anywhere if they are here. Who said to watch movie one by one? I watched it last night and wow, I'm so happy I didn't get the COVID thing. Right. I'm going to save this for later. I had a bit, right, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but David Icke has been let back onto YouTube. And I had a little bit of an epiphany. I had a bit of an epiphany about that. I think I'll talk about that tonight, actually. Cannibal CME supposed to hit the UK around 4 p.m. My advice, turn all plugs off, unplug and keep phones and devices away from windows. And another one, guys, listen, if you're worried about this electromagnetic storm, put your electrical devices in your microwave, but don't turn it on. Unplug your microwave, right? And put your devices in the microwave. Microwaves are a Faraday cage, all right? I don't know if anybody knows that, but microwaves, excuse me, but microwaves are Faraday cages. So if anybody's worried about this solar storm that's coming, and as Donna's saying, it's going to hit around 4 p.m., unplug your microwave, all right? Don't put your phones in the microwave and turn the microwave and give them 3 minutes and say, oh, Sean said put it in the microwave. No, I didn't say that, all right? What I'm saying is, microwaves are Faraday cages, and Faraday cages are immune to EMP, so you can put things in there and they're safe from electromagnetic pulses. Donna Hook, why does the UK feel like the Purge movie when locking up at night? Do you know what, Donna? What a fantastic question. I feel the same. Honestly, I feel the same. You know, we've got, where we live, we've got like quite a long driveway. And we've got 2 gates. The bottom gate, it's like ridiculously like secured. You know, I've got spikes on the top of it. I've got barbed wire. Not only have I got barbed wire, but I've got barbed wire and rose bushes going through the barbed wire, so you can't tell it's barbed wire, so it doesn't look like it's barbed wire. It just looks like it's rose bushes and thorn bushes. You know, I've got a ram bar on this side. You know, I've got a chain, a padlock. The other side, we've got a 14-foot wall around most of the house. The other side of the house, there's like maybe 10 foot of brambles. So nobody's getting through. I don't care who you are, guys. Nobody's getting through 10 foot of brambles without like a tractor or something. It's just not going to happen. And then the other side of the house, I've got like another gate with spikes on the top. And I've got like, I've got a chain, and I crank the chain up. So I pull the door in with the chain. So even if you could get through the lock, you couldn't open it because there's a chain anchored to a wall that I ratchet that chain up. And yeah, when I close the gates every night, it does feel like locking up, you know, on a purge movie. Oh goodness, Priv Caro here is saying, am I the only one that says yes to vaccines? I have no problems taking them. I would rather have the problems of the vaccine than the sickness. I've never had COVID. I think what the problem is here, there's a lot of data being released about the COVID-19 vaccine. There's been a lot of data released after it. So I think people now are vaccine hesitant. I really do, guys. I think people are like, right, I just don't trust this anymore. I don't trust this anymore. And, you know, when you're thinking about putting things into your body, I would just say be careful what you put into your body. Somebody just said then, are all the electric cars going to stop at 4 o'clock? Whoever said that, maybe they will, I don't know. Emma Green is saying, John Giles is saying, bamboo spikes work well. Unfortunately, I think bamboo spikes and punji pits are illegal now. Emma Green is saying, Starmer's leadership on the brink as Wes for leadership website sparks Labour civil war. I don't think they're going. I don't think Starmer's going anywhere for a long time, guys. You know, I really don't. Right. Let me go through what we've been talking about before, guys. And let me just. Chris is saying, bring it. What do you want, Chris? Some chocolates? Some Ferrero Rocher? Does Chris want some Ferrero Rocher or something? Or some nice chocolates? Right. Let me run through quickly what we've been talking about. I totally missed that. Right, okay. Also, look, guys, we're out of time. Also, right, okay. Right, let's start from the beginning, okay? NATO plane down in, Turkish plane has gone down over Georgia. My initial reports on this channel was that it looks like it was intact. It's clearly not. I've seen Donna put me onto the footage now, and it is clearly not intact. 100% that thing is not intact. It did look intact on the images I've seen, but yeah, you're 100% right. It is it's missing its fuselage, so that kind of means something's hit it or something's happened. I don't know what this is, but what I'm pretty almost convinced and certain of is World War III will start by accident. Now, what we spoke about is because all these countries have now implemented Article 4, that means that they have their rules of engagement. So whereas before, if a Polish jet, sorry guys. So where we said, if a Polish jet goes up to intercept a Russian jet, he's going to ask for the, you know, and they're in Polish airspace. That Polish pilot is going to say, right, do I have permission to open fire on this guy? Because he's clearly in our airspace and he's not responding. And that could be an accident. That could be an absolute accident. You know, the electronics could have been fragged. They could be sending Mayday on the radio, but nothing's got through. And the only things that are working are the vital aircraft systems. Could be an accident. That general in the commander or whoever he is in the ops room, if that was me in the ops room, I would not want to start World War III. However, now Article 4 has been invoked by Poland. They will have clear rules of engagement. So that pilot won't even need to ask. He'll be briefed. Right. If X happens, you do Y. For example, and I don't know if this is the case. Obviously, I'm not privy to these meetings that the Polish government have, although I think I should. I think they should text me and let me know what's happened. In that scenario, when the Russian jet flies over and the Polish fighter pilot goes up to intercept it, you know, the Polish pilot is not. He doesn't even need to ask permission because it's already there. You know, it's already been briefed to him. If they encroach this far, you take them down, and that's what will happen. Now, that could happen by a genuine accident, and of course, either way, the Russians will claim it was an accident. So, the downing of this C-130. I don't know what it is. It certainly broke up. The fuselage is missing. I've not seen any images of the fuselage, so I don't know where that is. who knows, guys? You know, I would say, if anything, that's an internal explosion on the aircraft. I don't see how else it could happen. They're made really rigid. Actually, do you know what could be the other? Do you know what? Okay. Do you know what else it could be? This could be it as well, guys. This could be it as well. So those C-130s are built to do something called a TALO, a tactical, not a TALO, tactical air, yeah, TALO, tactical air landing operation. So is it TALO? Tactical air, yeah, TALO, tactical air landing operation. So you come in hard and you stove those things on the ground and then everybody runs off the back. It's called a TALO. Now, I've been on the back of these C-130s when they've come in and they're doing a TALO, tactical air landing, and they hit hard, guys. They hit really hard. So I've been on them where they've bent the chassis, or is it, maybe it's a chassis, I don't know what it's called. The aircraft, basically. That's what could have happened. That's what could be the cause of this aircraft, okay? They could have done a hard tactical air landing previously. They didn't have it serviced. The engineers didn't look at it properly, and they just put that back into service. But that's what could have happened, guys. It could have been a tactical air landing that went wrong, and they've just took off. It's been weak, and it's disintegrated in the air. That's what it could have happened, guys, okay? That is what could have happened. We've also got Sharia law courts now potentially operating in well, they are operating in the United Kingdom. This guy, Adil Ray, has been talking about how, well, let's just read the article again. Where is it saying? He's appearing to endorse Sharia law. And look, guys, I'll just put it here. Any legal system where stoning someone to death for adultery or for lesser crimes, that doesn't fit well with my personal belief system. So I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Also, I've not even had a chance to mention this, guys. Okay, GB News are reporting about our national flag has offended people on the NHS because they're saying the national flag. People feel uneasy. In fact, you know what? Let's share this with you guys. Let me share this.
NHS bosses say that our great national flag is creating no-go zones for their staff. One NHS Trust leader compared walking into the home of someone with a St George's cross outside to the threat that staff face from going into the properties of convicted sex offenders.
So there we have it, guys. NHS workers feel like going into somebody's home that has a St George's cross outside is exactly the same as going into a convicted sex offender's house. So there we have it. I'll let this play a little bit.
Here's the quote. I've been into homes with people who have been convicted of sex offences, and we go in and we provide care to them. It can be a really precarious situation, and they handle that absolutely brilliantly. The autonomy and the clinical decisions that they make within that, I think, is fantastic. We saw during the time when the St George's flags went up, our staff, who are a large minority of black and Asian staff, feeling deliberately intimidated. It felt like the...
So remember what I said previously, guys, about the definition of jihad? Put that into context now.
Flags were up creating no-go zones. That's what it felt like to them. It's ridiculous. The NHS doesn't have a problem with some flags, do they? They painted the entire side of one hospital with the pride flag. They've even got big LGBT ambulances. NHS staff are currently suing the NHS.
This is wild, guys, okay? So just take that into context. NHS staff do not like seeing George's crosses outside houses because they feel intimidated. Yet, NHS staff are suing the NHS because
over their right to wear a Palestine flag at work.
So the NHS feel intimidated by the sight of a St George's cross. The NHS are suing the NHS because they want to wear Palestine flags on their uniform. Make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Can anyone make that make sense? I'm going to stop sharing there, guys. I'm just conscious of the time. I know it certainly doesn't make any sense to me, guys. That makes absolutely zero sense to me, guys. Absolutely zero. I think I've covered everything there, guys. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start to close this down now. You guys have been absolutely fantastic this morning. You have, guys, have been fantastic. I feel there was a bit of beef in the chat, but everybody was, I think everybody was calm and relatively unoffensive. I think everybody was calm and relatively unoffensive. So, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to close this down now, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be fantastic. Remember, guys, okay? Remember, the 12th of November. remember, guys, okay? The solar flare, there's going to be a huge solar flare. Allegedly, apparently it's hitting the United Kingdom today at 4 o'clock. I don't know how much is in that. I don't know whether it is or not. Remember, guys, okay, if you want to protect your devices, put them in your microwave, but do not turn your microwave on, all right? I need to be clear. Don't turn your microwave on. Don't put your phone in the microwave and turn it on for 15 minutes and say, oh, Sean says, warm your phone. I didn't say that. Unplug your microwave, put your phone and your devices in the, microwave. Donna's saying that's wild. What's wild? Right, I don't know what we're talking about. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll be back on later today. I will be back on at 8, and I bid you good morning.